Hello there. This is R. Snider. Welcome back. And today we are going to be reacting to my first guitar solo I ever did, like out in public and in general, like ever. So for context, so it was like a jazz band. I believe it was the day of a jazz band concert, and obviously I'm not really a jazz guy. I'm not really good at playing it. I can do like rip off jazz, but I'm not a jazz guy, nor was I. And I think this was my first year of guitar playing. I think so, yeah. First or second year? First. So it would have been sixth grade. Okay. This was my first year of guitar playing. And I couldn't play any of the chords that the band was playing. So most of the time, all I did was just like act like I was actually playing guitar. So like if the band was playing this, I would have been mimicking what I was doing, and then my band teacher had no problem with it. He looked at me, he's like, just gave me a thumbs up, and eventually he did notice, but didn't last for a while, so I was still good in the clear for saying it was the same as this for a while, and somehow that got me by. So there was one day before the practice, or before our concert, during a practice where we were going to play Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple. Every guitarist probably knows this song at this point. To your first guitar lesson, or maybe in between, I don't know. It's pretty freaking simple. And there was a part in the song where everyone had a solo, like the sax section, trumpet section, anybody who pretty much just volunteered. We're like, yeah, here you go, here's your few bars. And we were supposed to solo over something like this. It was something like that, and it was pretty simple. You could have just done like G minor pentatonic or but the thing is that I was only my first year in guitar playing, and all I was really doing was a bunch of cowboy chords and playing "Working Man" by Rush over and over again, and it was just really the most simple stuff I was doing. I never soloed in my life. I had no concept of what soloing was, and one day, I think it was the same day as this happened to be, where I was like, you know what, maybe I can solo. So I think I looked up like how to solo online. I found like having to find like a minor pentatonic scale that you can use. And I came up with this. It was probably I think it was simpler than that somehow, but it was pretty simple. Like what I did, it wasn't anything special or anything. And it was just that phrase I just kept playing over and over again. I didn't play with it or anything. I just said like, okay, it was in E minor too, keep in mind. I wasn't doing that. It was probably something pretty simple. And I remember I brought this into practice or whatever, because I knew there was going to be a solo at some point in the song where we could volunteer. And when my band teacher was like, okay, does anybody else want a solo, guys? And I'm like, raise my hand up, and he's like, yeah, Riley, play a solo in between the bars. And then and I think at some point I ended up interrupting somebody else's solo or something like that, because what happened was he told me, he's like, no, that solo that you just played, he's like, no, that's blues. And I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, okay, fine. I'm like, have it your way. It's like Burger King around here. And I'm like, okay, fine. So later I decided to interrupt somebody else's solo so I could solo. So I just started doing. Wasn't that even that? I'm having trouble actually playing it. Some stupid like that. There were probably a few chromatic lines that I was doing that over. And it had no musical sense or anything. It was horrible. And he's like, Riley, don't do that. And then he's like, you know what? Here you can have the solo. And it was super nice of him to do this. But at the same time, now that I think about it, I'm like, why? Why did you trust me? And he still did. So this was the solo that I ended up doing later that night that he let me do in front of everyone. So let's observe my first solo.
Here we go.
Horrible. No. Okay, so what I essentially might have been doing here. Okay, so. And my thinking here might have been. Okay, let's play a chromatic thing here. Sounds like a carnival ride. Wait a minute, I still have solo. I think, hold on. I think I might have been. I think I might have gone up a whole step after. It was something like that, actually. It's so bad. But once I started actually like learning the solo there, I mean after that, it took a while, but you start to learn after you make your mistakes, and I think even then, like after I did the solo, I'm like that was no key, because I kind of figured out, I'm like, wait a minute, a key is something where it's like mode, or not like actually speaking from a musically ignorant space, like a mode where it would be like, well, I can play this with that, and that'll work. And finally, I learned after that that there are things that actually make musical sense in certain situations. And that's how I kind of started learning it as solo, was like, okay, started out with pentatonic, and then started elaborating on pentatonic, which, or, and then I started learning the major scale. And holy crap, you can spice that up. You could still go a little bit musically nuts. And yes, the key lesson here is that you can go musically nuts within reason. Because as long as you have something to hold on to and like start out with, like, you can go anywhere you want to as long as you come back to home base. So for example, like there I went from G minor pentatonic to A major pen or A minor pentatonic. It still made sense because it's not like you're going from like soloing in as long as you return back. See, that sounds terrible. Maybe in certain situations sound good, like maybe if you're trying to be Zappa, but I ain't Zappa. And then that's when I realized after this performance, there are things known as keys. And you have to abide by them. But at the same time, they allow you to be free sometimes. That's my lesson for today. And I'm glad you decided to laugh at me in my first guitar solo. Thank you very much for watching our Snider. Good day.